The old world is full of foul ways to twist flesh and bone into unusual forms. Prolonged or intense chaos exposure can mutate even the most pious of men, while the tender administrations of necromancers have created grotesque parodies of natural life. Many dark powers can lay claim to at least some skill in flesh warping, but only the Skaven of Clan Moulder can boast that their methods are rooted in science, not magic. Using groundbreaking mutagenic technology, the mad scientists of Hellpit have grown innumerable horrors in their vats. Rat ogres, wolf rats, and Hellpit abominations can all be counted amongst their greatest successes. Sometimes, however, a Moulder monster requires very little augmentation by a master mutator. In such cases, all that's needed is to break the creature's will and bind it completely to its Skaven masters. Such is the case of the Brood Horror, a terrible creature possessed by a boundless hunger. Brood Horrors are created when a particularly ravenous giant pox rat pup consumes its siblings shortly after birth. Its littermates still cling to life within the Brood Horror's gut, and at times you can see them attempting to claw out of their fleshy prison. This dark act of familial cannibalism swells the pox rat, bloating it with foul power. Not only do brood horrors gain extreme strength and durability from this perverse ritual, but their wounds close with unnatural speed, turning otherwise mortal blows into little more than minor annoyances. If, by some miracle, a brood horror is actually slain, the acidic contents of its body cavity rush out. These juices are strong enough to melt the gear and bodies of any creature unfortunate enough to be near the vile beast. The abilities just listed are merely the baseline talents of an unaltered brood horror. Skaven being Skaven, the mutators of Clan Moulder rarely leave them unaltered. Common augmentations include the attachment of long, rusted blades to a brood horror's tail, or crude sheets of metal to its flank. More exotic improvements draw upon the talents of other clans. The technological wizardry of Clan Scryer creates supernaturally sharp warpstone talons that are pounded into the creature's fingers in place of claws, while the roiling plagues of Clan Pestilence infuse the stomachs of some brood horrors, granting them a disgusting, disease-ridden breath weapon. These abilities can make them deadly on the battlefield, able to lay waste to small armies single-handedly. It should be no surprise that warlords are deeply envious of any Skaven who can ride such a dangerous beast into battle. Some will go to extreme lengths to acquire a brood horror, though the safest and most reliable way to do so is to just purchase one from Clan Moulder. The merchant rats of Moulder are well aware of this and charge ridiculous prices for even a mundane specimen. It is not unheard of for thousands of slaves and warp tokens to change hands for a single brood horror. Few warlords regret their purchase, for the brood horror's monstrous strength and mutant abilities can overwhelm otherwise superior foes. In Total War Warhammer, brood horrors are a monstrous unit on the Skaven roster, introduced in the Twisted in the Twilight DLC for Warhammer 2. They're a pretty cheap monster unit, only costing 1200 gold in multiplayer. For that price, they're an absolute steal. Brood horrors are as fast as light cavalry, have predominantly armor-piercing weapon strength, and possess poison special attacks. They also cause fear and terror, have the frenzy special rule, and regenerate at a pretty steady clip. This makes them an absolute monster in the battlefield, swift enough to catch and destroy isolated units of mid-tier cavalry, infantry, and monsters. They're not perfect, however. Brood horrors have no real defenses besides their regeneration, with low armor, melee defense, and mass compared to similar monstrous units. If they don't get the charge off, a brood horror is easy pickings for units one would otherwise expect them to easily kill. Some of this can be mitigated by taking them as a mount option instead. Warlords, packmasters, and Throughout the Unclean can all ride brood horrors. Taking a warlord on a brood horror increases its armor, melee attack, and melee defense, while taking a packmaster or Throt on a brood horror gives you special abilities to boost the horror to new heights. No matter how you bring one, they can be a valuable addition to your army as long as you stay on top of their micro. That concludes our overview of the scuttling beasts known as brood horrors. They're a fun addition to the Skaven roster, and actually got me to play a Skaven campaign in Total War Warhammer, something I almost never do. I hope you enjoyed the overview of how they came to be and what they can do in the lore. If the mood strikes you, please like and subscribe, you know the speech. As always, if you want to see something in particular on the channel, don't be afraid to comment it down below. Until next time, this has been Sigmar's Chosen, signing off for now.